Hello, and we're back laying out the UVs for the house. So I've finished a lot of the laying out of the UVs for the windows. Right now I'm currently working on the door, and as you can see, there's a little double line here. And that means these UVs here are not sewn together, which is, they're not really attached. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this edge and click sew. And it looks initially like everything got funked up, but if I do this and go to the align and snap, I can align this up. Now, what that might also mean is there might be some vertices here that actually need to be merged. So I'm going to go to vertex, I'm going to go to display, heads up display, poly count, and I'm just going to grab these here just to see. It looks like they are indeed merged, but this is a good way to see whether or not you've actually merged all your vertices. Let's just select all these right here. And there's just 4 here selected, and that's really what's supposed to be selected, so we know that this is okay. But for some reason, the UVs didn't get laid out properly in terms of being sewed right there. Now I'm almost finished with both the window frames and the door frame. So this is the inner part of the door frame. I'm just going to stitch this together. And as you can see, we've got this issue again, so we're going to sew it. And I'm not selecting the edges when I align, because what can happen if you select the edge is it might select another edge, and so funky things could happen. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is select these 2 inner edges, and that should select, yep, that edge right there. We're going to stitch it together. And we're going to grab another one and stitch it together. And then I am going to move my UVs here down. So we're just going to move them down so that these guys can be relatively easily sewn. And as you can see, it's sewn together relatively easy. I'm going to go to UV here, hit W, oops, move both of these up. All right. And then I am going to stitch together this bottom portion, bring this in a bit, and then sew my edges together. And if you have things that are off like this, right, we can once again select the UVs, and we can pick one of these align and snap options, which is really great. I'm going to use the align and snap here as well. It's not even. Oopsie. There we go. And then I am going to align and snap for here. And then I'm going to align and snap right there. Okay, oh, and look at this. Here's another edge that needs to be sewn. I like showing the align and snap because it's oftentimes overlooked, especially by newbies. And then we are going to save. All right, so we're going to move on to moving to the windows. All right, let me see. All right, so this is the entire door. We've got the entire door frame. If we were to select this shell, if we were to double click, it would select this entire shell here, which is great. And so what we can do is we can now select the entire inside of this door frame. And I'm just shift selecting here. And then we can stitch it together. Look at that. We've got a door. My door does not have to be sewn back to my walls here. It doesn't really have to be. It could be. But if it's a separate material, it's not essential that that remains all in one piece. Okay, so we are not quite done with the windows. I believe I have one more window where I have the inner part of the window that needs to be done. So I'm going to stitch those 2 parts together. And I already did the legwork where I made sure everything was basically pointing in the correct direction. So I already did that work. So made it easy for me to just stitch together, not worry about some craziness occurring once that was done. And now I'm going to stitch this together. Look at that. And once again, remember, we can always snap. Oopsie. See, that's what happens when you select an edge. This is why it's important sometimes just select the UVs and snap. Okay. So I'm going to do these, snap it over, and we're going to stitch together this guy and then snap and snap. Okay, so all of these are done. But what we want to do is then we want to just sew the windows together. Oops. Let's make sure all of it is stitched together. And we're just going to go through and do that for everything. You can always hit Q if you don't want the move tool in the way. And I'm just shift selecting. And you know, we don't actually have to make it so the windows are part of the window frame. I have just decided to do that, but you do not have to do that. It's okay if you don't. All right, so the trim. The trim is all one object, so I want to do some sewing together of the trim. That I do want to do. So that would be this trim here. So, oopsie. So that's all of this trim. So it all needs to be sewn together. So we are going to do that. So this and this get stitched together. Now here's something that happened. This is not great. We can go and we can fix it. I'm going to put it over here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it. Of course, it's the easiest thing to do, and move it up. And then what we can do is we can double click everything, and let's bring this up. So there's an option to straighten UVs, and I believe that is under Unfold, yes. So you can straighten UVs, and it'll straighten that. You can also straighten shell, okay. And obviously, if it's not giving you quite the results that you wanted, you can just go to Align, and you can align everything. And that's actually what I'm going to go to right now. So I'm just going to drag select with Align. Make sure I don't have this bottom area, or I will undo lots of work. It'd be very sad. Oopsie, see? All right. And now I'm just gonna select this bottom area, and here we go. Look at that. Okay. And if I want, I can, of course, always bring this on so I can see what this looks like. And it's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Remember to save and to save often. So I have been saving this quite a lot. All right, so now let's find the next edge. And that should be, aha, here it is. So this is going to bend a bit too, right? It's okay. We'll move it over. We'll fix it. And then I'm just going to double click and straighten UVs. And this time it worked a little bit better. So you can see the UVs are all straightened. Okay, so the next edge should be one of these guys. Oh, here it is. Ooh, and we've got some funkiness going on here. So let's make sure this funkiness is okay. Yeah, see, look at that. I didn't want that. That is really funky. Yeah. It's okay. So I'm going to double click on this and straighten the UVs. And once again, if you are not, so that's straighten shell, so straighten UVs, if you're not getting the results that you want, just use the align and snap.